What is up, guys? You already know who it is. It's your favorite coach, Rave Suave. I'm here at Muscle Beach in South Beach, Miami, Florida. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram, then you know that I do Q&As on my Instagram stories a lot. But the problem with them is they always disappear, and then your question doesn't get answered or you missed it. So if you happen to follow me, and if you don't follow me, then follow me. You already know how to do that. I'm gonna go over a lot of questions that people asked today on my Instagram stories, and I'm gonna answer them live right here for you guys. So the first question I got is, what happens to the body if you lift heavy but don't consume enough protein? So one thing you guys must understand is that our muscles are basically made of protein. This is the reason why consuming enough of it is gonna help you build more muscle. So if you are going through all of the hard work of lifting heavy with your workouts, basically what you're doing is tearing your muscles apart and you're not giving them the substance that they need in order to grow and rebuild and become stronger. So essentially what will happen is that you will become more fatigued, you won't recover, and you may actually lose muscle instead of gaining it. So it's very important that you eat enough protein, and I usually recommend a 0.8 or a gram per pound of goal body weight. Best way to make that make sense, say you weigh 120 pounds, then you should be aiming to get around 120 grams of protein daily in order to support optimal muscle growth. Second question, will holding on to the handles while doing cardio make it less effective? I actually spoke about this on my last YouTube video, but I'm gonna speak about it again. So this big controversy over if you hold on to the handles while you're doing the Stairmaster or any form of cardio, that it's a complete waste. I posted this and actually someone responded to me doing cardio saying that I wasted the workout. The truth is, that's absolutely false, guys. If your heart rate is elevated and you are moving over a period of time, this is considered an aerobic activity. No matter what you hold on to, that is still cardio. Now, is it less effective? Possibly. Because say I'm doing a Stairmaster and I'm tightly holding on to the handles, at that point, I'm not really maximizing the amount of effort that's being put on my legs, so my cardio output may be less. So to say that it's a complete waste is absolutely not true. To say it may be less effective, possibly. But at the end of the day, if your goal is doing cardio 4 or 5 times a week, find what works for you. If holding on to the handlebars gets you through a 40-minute session, so be it. Your heart rate is elevated, you're still burning calories, yes, it still counts. Question number 3, someone said, name 5 best glute exercises you would hit in the gym consistent and see results. So I think they're asking me what are the top 5 glute exercises I recommend that you could do on your workouts in order to see optimal results. And these are the top 5 workouts that I would recommend. My first recommendation at number 5 will be a cable hip abduction. Why? Because there's not many exercises like this that are really going to target the gluteus medius and minimus. This is one of my staples. I believe every workout you do should have some form of hip abduction. Alongside of the seated hip abduction, which can also incorporate a lot of the glute max, I prefer a standing cable hip abduction because I feel like it does isolate more of that gluteus medius, and I know a lot of you women are trying to build that shelf. This is one of the best exercises for it. Number 4, I'm gonna say a deficit reverse lunge or a Bulgarian split. This is one of my favorites because I believe you should have a vertical hip extension exercise, and this one is going to work the glutes in a stretch position. It's really good for allowing your body to get, your glutes, to get in that deep stretch position and maximize the amount of blood to force specifically into your lower glute division. So if you're really trying to build a nice peach, a nice round backside, reverse deficit lunges or Bulgarian split lunges. Those 2, hands down, I'm gonna put it number 4. At number 4, I'm gonna say glute focus lower back extensions. These are absolutely great. You should definitely incorporate them in your workout routine if done properly. And I'm gonna put a short video here so you can see how they're done. Number 3, oh, that was number 3. And number 2, I'm gonna have to say an RDL. A classic RDL done properly, to me, is in comparison with number 1 for the best glute building exercises you can see growth from. And number 1, I think you all know, barbell hip thrust. Barbell, dumbbell, Smith machine. This is the main entree. This is the king of glute building. If you are not gonna do any other exercise, hip thrust is gonna grow your glutes. Next question I got, will I still build muscle if I train hard, eat enough protein, but I have insomnia and sleep less than 6 hours a day? Now this is a great question and I can relate to it because I've had this issue for a long time. It wasn't until maybe about a year ago that I really started prioritizing sleep, and the results I saw were dramatic. I mean, dramatic. Think about it like a toddler. I have a 6-year-old and she sleeps a lot, and they need this because their body is growing so much, and you need the same thing. If you're doing all of this hardcore training, you're eating enough protein, which to me is the hardest part. By not sleeping, you're not getting all the bang for your buck. There's a reason when you wake up you feel sore in the morning, and that's because all of the changes are happening during the sleep cycle. The nutrient uptake is happening, the microscopic tears that happen from the hard training that you've done, they're binding together and growing stronger. This is happening while you're sleeping. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you are basically inhibiting this process and not allowing your muscles to recover, grow bigger and stronger, and I assume that's why you're working out. So it's absolutely important that you get anywhere from around 6 to 9 hours of sleep. I do realize that's hard for a lot of people, but if you knew the impact it would have on your results, I think you would take it more seriously. Next question I got is, do I need to be in a calorie surplus in order to grow my glutes? This is a great question. Now, if you would have asked me this question 10 years ago, I would have said absolutely. But now I'm gonna say no. And that's because I've had so many clients actually grow their glutes without being in a calorie surplus. And I'm gonna break down, if you don't wanna be, how to do it. Now, if you are in a slight calorie deficit, this means not a large calorie deficit, maybe 200-300 calories underneath your maintenance, yes, you can grow your glutes. It's gonna be slower and it's gonna be steady, but it has to be done with the right protocol. The right protocol is you, one, getting enough protein. This is essential, it's not up for debate. You need to get around 0.8 to a gram per pound of goal body weight. So if you weigh 130 pounds, that's 130 grams of protein you need every day. Now it's slow and it's steady. Now, second option you have is maintenance calories. Maintenance calories is what I recommend because you're not in a calorie deficit. You're eating just enough calories to support the muscle growth. It's a faster way. And then you have the last option, which is the best option, which is a calorie surplus. This is the fastest way to grow muscle because you have fuel for those rigorous workouts, and you also have enough calories to help the muscles rebuild and grow stronger and bigger faster. So yes, you can do it in a slight calorie deficit, but it's gonna take the right protocol. Next question I got is, can I build muscle while being on a keto diet? Now, I get these questions all the time. Can I build muscle on this diet? Does this diet work? Does that diet work? At the end of the day, guys, you have to understand the theory that is basically calorie surplus or calorie deficit. A keto diet, to me, is just another name for a low-carb diet. That's pretty much all it is. It's just being in a calorie deficit. So no matter what type of diet you're on, if you want to know if it's effective or not, just think about the basics that you need to stick to. Number one, calorie surplus or calorie deficit. Whatever your goal is, you need the calories to support that, whether that come from keto, whatever it is. That's it. Second thing is eating enough protein. If you want to build muscle, you need enough protein. It's non-negotiable. No matter what those protein sources come from, that macronutrient number needs to be high enough in order for your muscles to rebuild and grow bigger. The last thing is you need to focus on progressive overload. What does that mean? That means progressively challenging your body more, whether that be with more weights or more reps over time. So the last one I'm gonna do is a little bit more personal. It's a question that I got asked on Instagram, and it's a woman saying her goal is to lose fat. She's menopausal. She says, I'm menopausal, I eat 1,490 calories, 130 grams of protein, but I'm gaining instead of losing. Now, I can definitely say that menopause is a real thing because it does affect the hormones, especially the water retention, the fat storages. So once you get to this point in your life, it does make it harder to see results. But by definition, if you are in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. If you are in a calorie surplus, you will gain weight. So if you're not doing either one, if she's gaining, then that means there's a couple things wrong here. Now, 1,400 calories is really low for someone gaining weight. So that tells me one thing she's doing is maybe misinterpreting the calories she's taking in. A lot of times people don't accommodate for the condiments they use in their food. They don't accommodate for their drinks. There's so many of these things that equate to a lot of calories. For example, avocados, even olive oil. If you put too much olive oil on your food, you know, that's 300 to 600 calories alone if you look at the amount of calories in just a tablespoon of olive oil. So I think that if you're going to use one of those calorie tracking apps, make sure that it's accurate and that you are actually getting the number you think you're getting, because in most cases, people are not, and this is super common. The second point is that you're under eating. Now, if you've been under eating for too long, a lot of times your hormones will crash. Basically, your body will stop responding properly because it's trying to hold on to all the energy it can have instead of burning it off. So that could be possible. Third option is, I say this a lot, it's a word called NEAT. It's an acronym which means non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is everything that you do outside of your daily workout. So many people, a lot of people, almost everybody thinks that they are doing more than they actually are. So their activity level every day is much lower than they think it is because they assume that they work out 3 or 5 times a week, that they're a very active person. But throughout the entire rest of the day, they're sedentary. They work a desk job. They really don't do much. If you look at the amount of calories that we burn and break it down into which departments, exercise only accounts for, I think, 5 to 8 or 10%. Non-exercise related activities account for almost 20%. So if you start taking longer walks, instead of take the stairs instead of the elevator, just overall doing more activity throughout the day, you're gonna notice that you're gonna get a lot leaner and start burning much more calories. And then the last thing I'm gonna say is not strength training. I don't know if this woman is regularly strength training or is progressively overloading, like pushing heavier weights, but if the body does not have muscle mass, it is not going to want to burn more calories. It's not gonna ask for more because muscles take up a lot. Think of muscle like a high maintenance girlfriend or boyfriend. They require a lot of attention. Your muscles are the same way in your body. When you build them, they require a lot of energy and they're gonna demand more. So if you're not strength training, start strength training, start eating more protein. I keep saying that, and I'm gonna keep saying it's super important, but more importantly, start getting more physical daily activity. All right, y'all, now that was part 1. I probably got about 40 to 50 more questions I could have answered, but I know you don't wanna listen to me talk for that long. So I'm gonna do a part 2, I'm gonna do a part 3, a part 4, however long it takes me to answer all your questions. So if you haven't already, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you have questions, drop the questions in the comments below. I'll even answer some of those, guys. But thank you all for tuning in and stay tuned for part 2.